Good morning, my brothers and sisters. We're going to be teaching this morning um, lesson 105. Talks about Paul teaches on demonic worship. And it's coming out of 1 Corinthians 10 and 20. 1 Corinthians 10 and 20 says, "No, not at all. I am saying that these sacrifices are offered to demons, not to God. And I don't want you to participate with demons." It's clearly here what Paul is trying to teach the Corinthian church, because this was the Corinthian town was a town that was used to doing whatever they wanted to do, because they were a seaport and all kinds of people came through that town. So Paul, when he went there, he knew what he was up against. He knew he was up against a bunch of people that fornicated, a bunch of people that adultery. I mean, just lying, stealing, cheating, you name it, they did it. So he had to teach the people how to be Christians and how to be like Christ. And that was a pretty hard job to do. But he was successful because of Christ. He was successful. And because God had told him to go unto the Gentiles and preach the gospel. So that's what made him so successful. But Paul had problem with the Corinthian church because they were so used to serving other idols in that town, as well as some of the other towns too. And he wanted to teach them that there was only one gospel, and that was the gospel of Jesus Christ. So he began to teach all about Jesus Christ. And they fell in love with Christ. They fell in love because they had already heard about the wonders and things that he did in Jerusalem and other places, the miracles that he did. And they had finally got a person to come and teach the gospel to them that had seen it firsthand. So this is why, this is what made Paul so effective. And it says here in the summary, it says, Paul has finally reached the main reason he will warn the Christians in Corinth from eating food that has been offered to idols. It's not that the idols themselves represent real gods. He has been clear. The idols are fake and the gods do not exist. And you find that in 1 Corinthians 8, 4 through 7. Let me finish reading this. Is that those who worship them are, perhaps without even knowing it, offering sacrifices to demons. They actually didn't even know it, because they were, let me see, this is what you call straddling the fence. Actually, they were trying to live two lives. That's like most Christians are trying to do today. They were trying to go back and worshiping into the pagan temples with their friends and neighbors, and that's just how it is. That's how today's life is too. You'll find people going and worshiping in other churches that does not represent Jesus Christ. So, and they're used to it. They were used to doing that. So they really didn't see nothing wrong with it. And so that's what they did. They felt like it's okay. I can go do this. I can go over there and then come back over here. They just couldn't cut the cord. It's just like a baby. You have to cut that cord so that baby can live and so you can be separated from that baby. So you have to cut that spirit off because that spirit is no good to you. All right? You think you're going to hurt somebody's feelings because you don't go to their church anymore. Fine and dandy. But you have to go where Christ is being taught. and not demonology being taught, because you could get caught up and get in a snare and lose your salvation, and that's not what you want to do. And I mean, these demons out here to kill are out here to kill, steal, and destroy. They are out here to trick you because they have the ways of Satan. So that's why you got to be careful. Let me go to Corinthians. Okay, Corinthians. And these are the stewards of the ministries of God. These are 1 Corinthians 8:4-7. 1 through 5. I'm gonna read 1 through 5, and then 20 through 21. It says, "Let man." Number 1 says, "Let man so consider us as servants of Christ and stewards of the ministry of God." Number 2 says, "Moreover, it is required in stewards that one be found faithful." That's required in us, to be found faithful, so other people can see it. Okay, number 3 says, but with me, it is a very small thing that I should be judged by you or by a human court. In fact, I do not even judge myself. Number 5 says, therefore judge nothing before the time until the Lord comes, who will both bring to light the hidden things of the darkness and reveal the counsels of the heart. Then each one praises will come from God. He wants you to. He's a God. Jesus is going to judge you sooner or later in the last day, but he's going to judge those dark things that's going to come out. A lot of people hide their dark things, their dark feelings, their dark places where they go sometime and just to get away sometime. Those are dark things. Those are hidden things that need to be dealt with. They're dark sins, you see. Therefore, number 5 says, therefore judge nothing before it's time, until the Lord comes, who will both bring the light, the hidden things of the darkness, and reveal the counsels of the heart. The heart is what matters. He will judge the heart. Then each one will praise, and each one will praise will come from God. Each one's praise will come from God. Number 20 says, for the kingdom of God is not in words, but in power. 21 says, what do you want? Shall I come to you with a rod? Listen at him. Shall I come? Paul is saying to the Corinthian church, shall I come to you with a rod? Or in love and in a spirit of gentleness? Which one do you prefer me to come with? Love or with a rod? Rod of correction is what he's talking about. He's going to tell you just like it is, but he's going to do it in love too. But he has to be serious about what he's doing, because that's the only way some people can really understand. You have to be serious about this matter of living for Christ and who you're serving. Don't get caught up into serving demonic spirits, because that's what they want. Now Paul finally reveals why it is essential that Christians draw hard lines on what participation they will have with idols. You got to draw a line. You have to draw a line with people and what you're going to do. Because this is another thing, what they were doing too. They were going eating with these people as well. And they was being with them, laughing and joking and playing around with them. You have to be careful about the company that you keep, because you could get tangled up into a web and you don't know your way out. Okay, real demons stand as the power behind those figures made with human hands. Anything that's made with human hands is demonic. Is demonic because this is what they was doing. They was building temples. They was building statues. Okay, and they worshiped those statues in those temples. And this is what it was saying. What it's saying here. But see, here the catch. You can build up statues in your mind. All right, you can build up people as symbols and worship them. Worship your children. Worship other people in your neighborhood, and that could be very dangerous because now you can even worship your home, your job, how much money you make. These are ways of worshiping the wrong thing. The way of the world. You worship the way of the world. You love it. Because here's what happened. Here's the catch. After you get all this stuff, places, people, and things, after you get all these things, guess what? Now, if you lose it, say it's like a tragedy come through your home, and you just lose your home, like a hurricane come through and tear your home up, and tear your cars up, and all this. Now, what do you have? Do you have Jesus still in peace? Do you still have Jesus in your peace with joy, or are you sad and hurt and about to fall apart and about to lose your mind? Say, for instance, you lose someone, a loved one. Do you fall apart? Like some people, they have to go on medication. They can't make it without the medication. They lose their nerves. These are the type of things that demonic spirits carry. They want you to lose your mind. And God said, do not, God told us not to fear. Because he gave us the power of love. He gave us the power, love, and a sound mind. This is what God gave us. So which one are you going to do? Which one are you going? What trap are you going to fall into? Because demonic spirits are out there to trap you into thinking that the world is over for me. I don't have nothing else. You see, I lost everything, and that's why that's what he wants you to think. But it's not so. Okay, the Bible is clear that through idols and gods are powerless human creations. Whatever you create in your mind is powerless. Psalm 96 and 5 is demons are true superior beings, supernatural beings, who exist supernatural powers in the everyday world. Demons are former angels that joined Satan in his rebellion against God. And then we go to Isaiah 1 and 14. Isaiah 1 and 14. 14 through 17, rather. And 14 says, your new moon and your appointed feast, my soul hates. God is letting you know he hates these things. Those idols that you serve with these other people, he hates them. He can't stand them. They are a trouble to me. I am weary of being them. Okay, number 15 says, when you spread out your hands, I will hide my eyes from you, even though you make many prayers. He said, I'm going to hide. When you raise up your hand and worship me and praise me, I'm going to hide. I'm going to hide. I will hide my eyes from you. And then it says, I will not hear you. He won't even hear you. When you pray, I'm not going to even hear you. Your hands are full of blood. This is what happened in that day. Those days there was in the Canaan land when they was killing babies and they were killing children, sacrificing them to gods, their gods, the demon gods. Number 16 says, wash yourselves. Wash, wash, wash yourselves. Make yourselves clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. Stop it. Cease to do evil. 17 says, learn to do good. Seek justice. Rebuke the oppressor. That's what Isaiah had to say about it. And then Ezekiel. Ezekiel 1 had a vision that God gave Ezekiel. God gave Ezekiel a vision on who he really was, who God really was, what he looked like, how he acted and everything. And you need to read that. Read that whole chapter of Ezekiel. Number 1, the first chapter. Read that whole chapter. It's very interesting. He gives a vivid description of who God really is. 26 says, and have, okay, this is a vision that God gave Ezekiel. Ezekiel 1, 26 through 28. 26 says, and above the firmament over their head was the likeness of a throne, in appearance like a sapphire stone. On the likeness of a throne was a likeness with the appearance of a man high above it. 27, also from the appearance of his waist and upwards I saw, as it were, the color of amber, with the appearance of fire all around within him. And from the appearance of his waist and downwards I saw, as it were, an appearance of fire with brightness all around. 28 says, like the appearance of a rainbow in the clouds on a rainy day, so was the appearance of the brightness all around it. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. That's what, read that whole thing. It's really exciting to read. But that's what he was referring to. And Revelations, let me go through Revelations right quick. And this is Satan. This is where it talks about these demons that was in heaven. Well, there was angels at first, but they became demons. And the reason they became demons because they rejected everything God had to offer. And what God was, they rejected it. So they became demons. Outcasts. Angels that didn't want to do right. That didn't want to live holy anymore. That's what these demons were. Number 7, Revelations 12, 7 through 9. It says, and number 7 says, and war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, which is Satan. And the dragon and his angels fought. Those were the angels that was eventually cast out along with Satan, and they became demons. 8. But they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer. God couldn't let them stay there no longer. Number 9 says, so the great dragon was cast out, the serpent of old, called the devil, and Satan, listen at this, Satan who deceives the whole world. He's a deceiver. That's why you have to be careful of people. When people are deceivers, they deceive you. They say they're one thing, but they're something else. You have to be careful. You got to have the wisdom of God to understand who the devil really is. He was cast out. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. This is what happened to Satan. This is how he got on earth. Now he began to live in us because he fooled Eve. He deceived Eve. He deceived Adam. So now that caused them to sin. And so now this is why we got to live the way we live. And he also tried to deceive Christ himself when he was on earth. He tried to deceive them all. Everybody that tries to live for God, he tried to deceive them and try to turn them into what he is, the devil. Okay, now that Paul reads his word, would have said, none of Paul's readers would have said, what's a demon? Demon possession of human beings was common and often accepted as reality during the time of Jesus and Paul. It was of demons in people. When Jesus, he cast out so many demons in people. They was out of their mind. They couldn't speak, couldn't see. So Jesus had to heal these people. Because see, Jesus had to heal these people so that he could save their souls. And that's why he had to cast them out. Now they was made whole again. Now they could hear, they could see, and they could act just like the way God intended for them to act, like a human. So that's why it was so important to cast these demons out. That's why it's so important for us to cast them out too. If you know how to do it, and if God has called you to do it, yeah, you need to cast them boogers out so that you can save these people's soul. Demons were understood to be both powerful and harmful, especially among believers. It's unlikely any of the Corinthian Christians would have suggested that participation with demons was not a problem. But it is a problem. Because sooner or later, if you keep participating with people that's worshiping, their worship is not according to Christ, you're going to be just like them. You're going to follow them. Because it's more exciting on that side than it is on this side of Christ. So you follow that. Those are the people that you follow. I've done it myself. I know. That's why I can talk about it, because God has shown me what I used to do. And I quit doing it. I gave it up to Christ. I said, help me, Lord. Teach me to do the right thing. And that's what it's all about. But demonic spirits are a slow killer. Demonic spirits are a slow killer. I mean, it'll get you in a trap and then hem you up, and then it possesses you until you can't do nothing about it, until you can't even leave it. You need the power of God in order to leave it or be cast out. This is what happened to a lot of people in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, when Jesus came along, that's why he had to cast them out. Matter of fact, he wouldn't even allow the demons to even speak. He didn't want to hear it. Nope. You got to go. Leave that person's body. And he only said a few words, and that was it. And they were gone. They were gone. And they was afraid of him. They knew who Jesus was. They knew who he was. And there was a time when one called out his name. They called out, he told him, Jesus, it is not time for us to go yet. You see, it's not our time. And Jesus cast him out anyway. He said, well, go in those pigs down there. And go in, and they ran into the water and drowned themselves. Okay, Jesus had to remove the demon before he could save the soul of the person. He had to remove that demon first. so that that person can acknowledge that Jesus is the Christ. All right. Paul's teaching that demons were a real power behind fake ideals. Also was not a new idea. They were power behind fake ideas. Everything they said or did was fake. Was fake. Satan is fake. Everything he do is fake and false. That's why we can't follow some people, because they have the spirit of those demons. You know Christ. You know Christ's spirit. He said, "You know my fruit." You know Christ's spirit, and that's the one you got to follow. In Psalms 106, 36 through 38, it says, describe some of the sins of Israel, including the worship of idols. It says this: they served the idols which became a snare to them. You see what I mean? It became a snare to them. These were demonic spirits that trapped them. They sacrificed their sons and their daughters to the demons. They poured out innocent blood, the blood of their sons and daughters, who they sacrificed to the idols of Canaan. See, this is what these people was doing in that day. Because, see, Paul was there living before Jesus came. And he served Christ after he left. He went against Christ. So Paul knew exactly what serving God was all about. He knew. You know, he killed the Christians. He put them in jail. So Paul understood and he knew what it was all about. But this is another lesson to let you know that we live in a day right now where Satan is still acting up, where demonic spirits are still acting up. And it's going to get worse because we're getting closer to the end time. So it's going to get worse. But you as a Christian or a new beginning Christian has to learn what the devil is, how he operates. And you can know who he is because you used to act like him before you came to Christ. You used to get out there and do all these crazy, sinful things. That's what demons do. They act up. They do everything. They do the opposite of God. That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell a demonic spirit about what he does. If they don't act like Christ and walk like Christ and talk like Christ, it's a demonic spirit. It's a demon. Because they live in us every day. Even Christians, they have them too. They just don't admit that they have them. They don't even admit that they have problems. They don't admit they even have desires of the old man or practices of the old man. They don't admit it. They don't want to admit it. But they're going to have to come to a conclusion one day and admit. They're going to have to come before God one day. I pray that it don't be on Judgment Day, because it's going to be too late then. So my people that are called by God's name, called by Christ's name, humble yourselves and pray and seek the face of God before it's too late. Okay, my brothers and sisters, I love you. God loves you. And until we meet again, be blessed. Stay focused. Keep your eyes on the prize, which is Jesus Christ. Okay? God bless.